way Mags dies will haunt me forever. We only know Mags for a short amount of time, but her death and her relationship with Finnick are so important. Also, I realized a new thing about her death. I'm going by the Catching Fire book here, because there are some differences in how they portrayed Mags in the movie. Mags can talk. In the books, she has garbled speech and she's missing a lot of teeth. Katniss presumes that Mags had a stroke and that's why her speech is impaired. Outside the game, she also uses a cane and she is 80 years old. Let's talk about Mags' death. The team of Peeta, Katniss, Mags, and Finnick are all together starting from like day 1 of the Quarter Quell. And on that first day is when they encounter the poisonous fog. And the way the fog affects them, I mean, it's blistering of the skin, it's very painful, but most of it is like neurological. It's affecting their nerves, like they lose control of their limbs, they're spasming. Katniss first realizes the fog, affects their muscles like this is when she sees Peeta's face. His face is drooping on one side, like his eyes not opening. And then from there, it's a mad dash to get away from the fog. Finnick is carrying Mags. Katniss is trying to help Peeta as much as she can, because just a few hours before he died, his heart stopped, so he's in pretty bad shape. Also, he has a prosthetic limb, pretty hard to run through the jungle, and because Peeta isn't able to go fast enough, he's getting touched more and more by the fog and losing more control of his limbs, and that is the catalyst for how we lose Mags. Katniss is struggling to help Peeta, and when she can't do it anymore, her and Finnick basically switch. Katniss is carrying Mags, Finnick is carrying Peeta. It sounds like Finnick's doing like a fireman's carry, like Peeta's like wrapped around his shoulders, and Mags is either piggyback or like sitting on top of Katniss's shoulders. It's described strange in the book, and the movie, it's like different how it's happening. Katniss goes on carrying Mags for as long as she can, but then like her legs aren't working. She's not that much bigger than Mags, so like it's a lot of weight to carry. And so she says to Finnick, can you take them both? Meaning, can you carry both Mags and Peeta? And then she sees Finnick's eyes turn glassy with tears. And he says, no, I can't carry them both. My arms aren't working. So like he's spasming. And Finnick says, I'm sorry, Mags, I can't do it. What happens next is so fast, so senseless, I can't even move to stop it. Mags hauls herself up, plants a kiss on Finnick's lips, and then hobbles straight into the fog. Immediately, her body is seized by wild contortions, and she falls to the ground in a horrible dance. Awful. The fact that Mags dies by the fog, that's having this neurological effect that makes your face droop, causes paralysis in your limbs, and all of those things I just said are symptoms of a stroke. And Mags, at least according to Katniss's presumption, had a stroke in the past. Also, like, the face drooping is the first thing Katniss sees that makes her realize the fog affects you in this way. That's a trademark of a stroke, is like your face drooping. Anyway, the way the poisonous gas affects them has a striking resemblance to the symptoms of a stroke. I feel like that's significant. You can tell me if I'm reaching or not, but I don't think I am. The way she kisses Finnick goodbye. Ugh. Kills me. I imagine conversations between Finnick and Mags before the games. Finnick promising to do his best to protect her and like help her get out of the arena when the whole rescue plan happens. And I can also see them sort of making an agreement that if it comes down to it, that Finnick can either save him and Mags, or save only himself, or save Peeta, or save Katniss. That Finnick is to choose himself and, these faces of the rebellion over Mags herself. The way Finnick says, I'm sorry, Mags, I can't do it, he's choosing Peeta in that moment to carry and move forward with. And Mags knows what that means. It seems like they agreed on what to do, and she doesn't hesitate. She kisses him goodbye, and off she goes. She sacrifices herself and makes sure Finnick doesn't have another chance to like second guess things. Mags used her death to help the rebellion move forward. It's just very selfless. I think even if there wasn't the whole rebel plot going on of like making sure Katniss and Peeta survive at all costs, I think Mags would have done this or done something like this. Seems like she cares about people younger than her and wants to give them a chance. She volunteered to go into the games in place of Annie, who is much younger, also because she knows how much Finnick loves Annie. Mags accepts, she's closer to death than anyone else here, being the oldest. Finnick was 14 when he won his games, and it's 10 years later, so he's 24. So Mags was in his life during a very formative time. It's very clear they have a close relationship, and he cares very much for her. It makes me sick to think about, like the trafficking Finnick went through. Like, I'm sure Mags knew about it, but she's powerless to do anything. I hope she was there for him as much as she could be. Yeah. The books don't say how old she was when she won the Hunger Games. There was like a movie-related website at one point called Capital Couture, and they said that Mags was in the 11th Hunger Games, so she was 16 during then, but like that's not in the book canon. But theoretically, she could have been mentoring for 62 to 68 games, and she's seen the creation of the Hunger Games. Like, she was alive before the Hunger Games started. She was 5 years old in the first Hunger Games. Her and Snow are about the same age. Snow is 83 by the time the Court of Quell happens. Oh, Mags.